Me. That's your neighbor. That's your neighbor. I'm gonna let's just go do the word here before I start talking and we won't get the word. And Robinson's looking at me strangely. But let's look at beginning at verses 8. It says that owe no one anything except to love one another. For he who loves another has fulfilled the law. Now, I don't want us to get this thing messed up here. It says, owe no one. Another word in Greek, due to no one. Now, it's not talking about here that you shouldn't be able to go borrow. Paul here is talking about love. You owe every man, every child, what? Some love. That is a Christian obligation, is to love one another. Don't you think sometimes even as Christians, we seem to fall short in that category? Now, I can't understand, but I understand it more so with the world. But it shouldn't happen like that in the church house. But yeah, it shouldn't. Oh, it shouldn't happen like that. It should be based on love. But what is going wrong? We know what the word of God says. It said, love ye one another, and just as Christ so loved the church. Wow. Are we forgetting that? Something we're lacking, and especially as Christians. I noticed that when I was a boy growing up, the winos, they all could get together and they could just sit down and drink and laugh all from the same bottle. Why? They loved one another. Oh, Lord. You come to church, you can't sit on the pew. What's wrong? What's wrong with us so-called Christians? Can somebody tell me? I'm trying to learn too. You know why? Because I'm a part of this mix. I too don't have it all together. But we still need to search for what is wrong. And Paul said, do no one except to love one another. Now that is a personal obligation. To love, personal. And we should do that on a personal level. This is not some hypocritical or abstract way of loving. This is a genuine love toward your fellow man. It ain't easy. No, it ain't easy. Well, we need to get the heart together again. If we know what's the problem, we need to work on that problem. Yeah. That's right. Well, the thing is, I was taught to as a boy. I've been in church about all my life. and the old folk back in that day, they didn't play a lot of this stuff we take now. They didn't talk like that. They said, now, you do everything you want to do. He said, Sunday morning, you give God your best. You give God your best. That means everything a part of you, you giving God your best. Now, one of the things that I find so distracting, you notice young folk, when they get ready to go out, they say, well, I ain't got nothing to put on. But they go to the store and they buy that $50 jersey and them regular jeans they paying $75 for. They dressed up, they $200, but time to come to church, I ain't got nothing to wear. Now, wait, and see, the problem that I have, when the church start bending to the world, the church are to set example for the world. You ain't got no bending to the world. When you start bending to the world, you're bending to Satan. And then he becomes in charge. Let me go a little further here. We got to get out of here, and we just getting started. But look at verses 9. I believe 9. I come out the house, left my glasses this morning. But I see y'all. Y'all might be spectacle, but I see you. 9. For the commandment, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, you shall not covet. And if there are any other commandments, are all summed up in this saying, namely, what? You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now you say, well, the Ten Commandments said this, 10 Commandments said that. God said now, yeah, I said that, but everything, when all these things are in play and all these things, he said now, they're not the greatest. He said, the greatest thing of all is love. Somebody think I made a song about in the day, something about some love. I think what Tina Turner asked the question, what love got to do with it? She couldn't answer the question, but I need to answer the question for has everything to do with it. That love thing is serious, folks. And you will think about it. I have to put things in perspective because I'm looking at the church, the Christians. The Christians. The world gonna do that thing. But there are certain aspects that we expect from Christians. You can't do what we shouldn't be doing what the world doing. We need to love somebody. I don't know. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and one thing I just like to keep in my mind about love. Love is what love does.
It's an action word. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Maybe sometimes we don't really understand that to where we need to be about this thing you call love. Love is action. You got to do something. Show something. And, it's kind of, this word love gets so many else in trouble. I love you. Now, many times we are saying that, no, you don't be more care about that person. I was talking to a lady yesterday. She said, I don't want nobody come telling me they love me. Because most of the time you don't mean it. It's just so easy to say. It sounds kind of spiritual, doesn't it? I love you. I love you, bro. And got that knife in the hand. You walk by 2 steps and fall, realize you got a knife, look at your back. Is that love? Now, I'm not talking to the world, I'm talking to the church. The church house, yes. Mm-hmm.
It didn't say murder. It said thou shalt not
Kill.
So the new translation now says murder.
Mm-hmm.
I know the big difference between the two, but I know back in the old days it said that covered everything. It said thou shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not everything.
But sometimes we can get caught up in the Old Testament saying, Jesus said, I came to come fulfill the law to make the law better. All right. Because what you're looking at in the Ten Commandments, you're looking at 610 addendums to the Ten Commandments. It's more than just 10. 10 is just like, I got, my name is Robert. Under Robert, I got 900 other things that's a part of that. That's the way the Ten Commandments. That's when Jesus said, y'all ain't keeping it. So you can't keep the law. It's too much for you. It's too much for you. You got the moral law, you got ceremonial law, you got judicial law, and you can't keep them. So I come to make things better for you. Aren't you glad? He said, I'm going to give you a little grace. He said, now whatever it is, it's going to be sufficient. You can't keep the law. No, you know, if we was on the law, we all be dead. You know that, don't you? We all don't feel. We don't feel it this morning. I feel it from the time I got here without messing with Ezra. Time I started messing with Ezra. He said, now if you make one mistake, you have failed them all. See, I couldn't even stand up this morning. I'd be already gone. But let's go a little further because we got to get out of here. Verses 10. I think that's what we are. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Now, you can say what you want. You might not like somebody or whatever. The Bible didn't say you couldn't like somebody, but he said you got to love them. Now, a lot of folk you might not like nobody in here. But you got to love them. See, the thing with Christian discipleship, you're trying to go somewhere. You're trying to go somewhere. And the Bible says, you ain't going. So you got to love these folk. If they despitefully use you. Oh, Lord, you sure put a lot on them, God. You want to love these folks and they ain't going to do it? Yep. See, I sent my son to love all y'all. And he did. And he know you ain't going to be no good. And he went. That love thing, folks, it's something else. Love, and especially Christian love, is not refusing to hurt someone else. It's also a work for the good of others. Oh, we got a hard time in our nation now. We got a hard time. Things are out of control. There seems to be no love. There's nobody seems to be working for the good of the nation. Everybody seems to be working for the good of themselves. And what do you get when that? Absolutely chaos. Absolutely chaos. When we operate against the will of God, we cannot expect good to come from chaos. You can't expect that. Because he says, love one another. Lord, help us. I think sometimes when we come to church, we ought to think about when we enter the door, we ought to say we're going to love each other. And when we come, don't come to sit beside the same person. That's my seat. Can't stand the next person. How do you do that? Now, I didn't say nothing about like, because people do things we don't like. But when we get beyond like to love, that's a whole different ball game. You got to love folk. There are folks I don't even want to be around. I'm sure that people don't want to be around me. That don't mean I don't love them. I don't want to be around them. They could be bad influence on you. But you want to make it in. Bible don't say anything, but if you like that person, you be able to make it in. No. He said you got to love. You know, you start loving, that get on down in there, doesn't it? Yeah, that get on down in there. It's got some forgiveness in it. You start overlooking some fault, and that's hard to do, folks. When somebody harmed you, and you say, well, I'm going to forget that. No, you know how most people say that thing. So don't do that no more. All right. Let's go to, where we going? 13. 1 Corinthians 13. Verses what? 1 to 8? 8 through 13? Okay. 8 through 13. 1 Corinthians 13. Okay, 8 through 13. All right. Look at this. Just look at this. 8 through 13. I got my notebook all messed up. See, I wasn't ready for y'all this morning. I got a call before I can get up good. Let me tell a lie. Yeah. They called Birdie said, I can't make it. See, I just had to tell a lie. See, I done broke the 10 Commandments already. But here in our lesson in 1 Corinthians 8 through 13, am I right? And it says now, for if, that's 14 right there, love never fails, but whether they are prophecies, they will fail. Y'all, yeah, some of us need to get that right there. Because we get caught up in somebody prophesying. And it said now, whether there are tongues, y'all better get there. That's going to cease. And it said, whether there is knowledge, it will vanish, what? Away. Now, we still talking about love. It said now, knowledge going to go. Prophecy going to go. But what's going to remain? Love. Love will exist all the way into eternity. But prophecy will no longer be. Those who prophesy, those who speak in tongues, those who think tongues is the better gift. Tongues are not the better gift. Prophecy not the better gift. But it seems here that God placed something in all of us. What is that? Love. Love. I think somebody said, that's a scary word. I got to love it. Yep. I love everybody. Green, gold, the one you got in the house up there in the, whatever the place is up there, the big house. And it make it hard to love. They say you can do all the prophecy you want. Some say that's already ceased. I don't question it. Knowledge exists. Tongues exist. But it said that ain't the greatest thing. Say all y'all in here get speaking in tongue, got tongue. And just one person got love. He said that person got love greater than everybody else. Because he or she has something that will go on into eternity. Never fail. everything else will fail except love. Now, we ought to try to get that, children. We ought to try to get that. You know why? Because that's going to stay with us. You can do all that other stuff you want to do. It ain't going to stay.
And then we have to ask ourselves about love. Where does love really come from?
Mm-hmm.
And then you answer that question by saying, God, the Bible says God
Is love. And you say you want to be more like God. But in order for us to be more like God, we got to have some more love. He didn't say nothing about you got to have some more tongue. No more pride. He didn't say nothing about that. But he said you do have to have some more love. Man, can you imagine what it's like in eternity with love? Loving everybody. Now, somebody need to tell the politician how to love. Somebody need to tell us what is the greatest gift that God has given his creatures on planet Earth. Somebody need to tell us. If anything, there are things that need to be shouted from the rooftop, and that's love. See, love accomplishes all. You can take love and you can do something. Love say, I know you done it, brother, but I'm going to forgive you. Lord just keep, what love does, Lord just keep manifesting itself in us. Love don't look back at what has already happened. Love say, I'm going on in spite of. Like a little child. I know you done it. That's when children can play, they can fight. In 5 minutes, they're all playing together again. They done forgot about that little fight they had. But now them adults, and they still holding something. The Haddockers and the McCoys, they've been dead 100 years. You still hating the other family. What is this mess? Lord help us. Maybe we ain't getting the picture. Something wrong with the picture here. You can't do what you want to do and think you're going to walk up in God's heaven. You got to change some things. Let's go a little further. I don't know where we are. I may messed up every time I stop. Verses what? 14? 9? 9. Now look here. And because, you know, I read, but I don't read. And I start talking, and here it comes. Verse 9. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. Now look at that. Now you check that out. He is not talking about prophesying over yonder. He said, now we know in part. Now just think about that. He didn't say you know it all. He said you know in part. You don't know it all. He just allowed us to know in part. And you think you prophesying in Revelation about everything. You ain't done nothing. They gave us 66 books. 66 books. I think it says somewhere in John, it says, if everything had been written, it couldn't hold it, situated here, couldn't hold it. But he gave us 66. By the Protestant, the Catholic got 4 or 5 more. But we can't do nothing with them. He said we prophesy in part. Otherwise, the little bit we got ain't hitting on nothing. It's good for the time. In other words, that's what that is. Prophecy in part is good for today. But over yonder, whoever that is, over yonder, it ain't no good. Sometimes we need to get this in mind. We need to have a better understanding of what is being said. Prophecy is good for today in part. But over there, it ain't no good. Over there, what is over there? He said, give me some love over here. You keep your prophecy. Y'all better understand. Lord help us. Let's go 10. Verse 10, am I right? Y'all help me. I ain't got my glass, D glass right here. I can't see nothing with them and can't hardly see nothing without them. Now look what this say now. Verse 11. 10. See there? But when that which is, what is that? Perfect. All right, you better get that now. She said, now, that which is perfect has come. Then that which is in part will be done away with. Who is perfect? Jesus. When he's come, all the other stuff going to be done away with except what? Love. You don't carry that in. Don't expect to carry it in. He said that's going to be done away with. Because the perfect one has come. You ain't going to need that. You ain't no prophesying part, and no tongue, none of that kind of stuff. You don't need none of that. But you got to have some love. Why? Because God is love. Now, he ain't going to have this other stuff up there. Because he done told you who I am. I am love. And he's not going to accept anything but love. Now, if you don't want to go now, that's all right with me. You might not want to go because you might want to take a handful of something else. It ain't going to happen. Go to verse 11. We're going to be out here in a minute. Verse 11. Said, now, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child, but when I came a man, I put away childish what? Things. That seems to be pretty much explanatory, doesn't it? When we young, you know you learn it. Well, I'm going to say it like this. You're supposed to learn as you go. That thing that you're supposed to learn as you go. You know something, you know what a lot of old folk call crazy folk, or older crazy folk, the old fool. I reckon that means they ain't learned nothing. They ain't nothing but just an old fool. Other words, they hadn't matured to where one should be. You still in the childish stage. It's just like I tell my grandson, he's seven today. I said, boy, you still acting like you 4 or 5. Because you mature, as you get older, you mature. As you, supposedly, here. As you get older in this thing we call Christian discipleship, we are to mature. You're supposed to stay the same. Got still just 1 Corinthians 3rd chapter. I better go and break that down so you can understand it. Let me break it down my way. If you went to the hospital and you saw a baby 1 or 2 weeks old and he is on special food or special however them tools in him, you say to yourself, something is wrong with that baby. But now if I come back 3 months later and that baby's still on that same thing, he ain't mature. You know something wrong with it. That's just like what Paul was saying. Paul said, now, you've been in this thing a long time, but you ain't done nothing. You ain't producing nothing. You ain't acting like you're choosing nothing. Don't look like you're trying. You hadn't grown at all. Sometimes we need to look at the church too. We don't look at the church. See, I can say this because I'm not a pastor. I don't preach. Hey, you can say what you want about me. I'm all right. See, certain things preachers can't say, pastors can't say, because y'all get mad. Get mad at me all you want. The only time you bother me on the first. On the first, I'm about ready to go to Congress. See, but the groom, the maturity that we should have as Christians depends on love. Paul said somewhere in first, I think it's 1 Corinthians somewhere, he said, we can be all like sun and timbrels. You just playing around, beating drums and all kind of stuff. But if you ain't got, he said you ain't got nothing. Ain't that something? You're doing all this, and you all lit all up, and you all got all this going on, but you don't have no love. He said, you need to shut up. So you ain't nothing, you just keeping noise. I think a lot of you keep noise. Just keep noise. Now, y'all can like me as you want. I know I'm teaching. I don't care what you say. One more verse. What is verse 12? 12. Okay. Huh? 12. Okay. I read this right. For now we see in a mirror. I want you to check this out now. He said, now for now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I also am known. Paul, what'd you say, Paul? Paul said now, in biblical history, a mirror was made out of bronze. And it shined out of bronze, but it never would give you the glow as your glass mirror. You never got that glow. That's what Paul said. Now, you look in the mirror, and what you see is actually not what you see, because you're looking in a dim view mirror. The mirror is dim. You know how when you go to the mirror sometimes, you know, your water done flashed all up there and the dew done got on there and it started changing. Then you wash it off because you want to see yourself. Yeah, that's reality. That's what Paul is saying. Paul says, now you see through dimly. In other words, you know in a small bit. But then one day you're going to come face to face and you understand this thing more. Now, I want you to know something now. Children of God, you will never have the knowledge of God even in heaven. Your knowledge will increase, but you will never have the knowledge of God. If that becomes, then you become a God. And you cannot become greater than the Creator. Y'all better get me. Y'all better get me. I know I'm teaching. I don't care what you say. Verses whatever. 13. And now about faith, hope, love. These three. But the greatest of these is what? You can't get by it. You ain't gonna get by it. You can have all the other things you want to. All of them. See, I know somebody got some of them mixed up when we can see other people do all these things, speak in tongues and run and shout and all that. We all getting, oh, they got a whole lot going on. But the Bible says, if you got love, you greater than all them. Do you understand that? You're greater than all of them. Because they might be doing that with no love. Ain't that something? We kind of dismiss love, don't we? You ain't going to dismiss it no more. You got to look at that. We have to look at ourselves. We have to look at ourselves. Everybody want to go to heaven. Nobody don't want to do the right thing to get there. And you definitely don't want to die. How many here want to die? Can I get a bus load? You like you got angel wings on, you like you're ready to go. Can't get a bus load, don't ask me to drive. ain't driving. No. But y'all see what I'm talking about? Lord help us. The song said, Lord, do it. If it can be done, do it for us. God bless you. And God keep you. Yes, sir. That's right. To a degree anyway. Wants to be loved to a degree. Now, love don't mean doing what some of us think love is. We want to be loved by our family and we want to be loved by each other. But whatever it is, don't let that take you down when you feel that you ain't getting what you think you rightfully deserve. Church folk, I'm talking about church folk now. There are more people hurt by the church than you can only imagine. Hurt by the church. Hurt by us. Hurt. Scarred. Seem like they can't get back. Let me get out of here before I hear something coming. Because I hear a lost sinner and a saved sinner. I'm two different people. The lost sinner, well, who? And Luke, I think it's the 15th chapter, the prodigal son. He was just lost when he came home. The other one is one who rebelled against God. Lost. Lost. Saved sinner. Lost sinner. Prodigal son was a lost sinner, but he came home. The other sinner is one rebelled against God and rebelled against the word of God. There is no hope. God bless you. God keep you. I ain't gonna say it till we meet again, because that's wrong. See, we don't, a lot of things we don't know. Yeah, that's wrong. If you go back to Genesis and read them two boys, they were mad with each other. They were mad with each other. And they said, see you again. Probably going to see him on good terms. So we have to be careful what we say. All right? Lord, I know I'm talking something. I don't know what it is. God keep you, and God bless you. All right.